Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta, and this is Get Right Fantasy Network. I'm here with my boy who I just lost to by 0.14 points here tonight. Fish and Frank. How you doing, man?
What up? I didn't think you were going to bring it up that fast. I was like, oh, maybe we'll just talk about it later on in the show. But yeah.
Hey, man, I got to rip the Band-Aid off, man. I just get out of the way. Let's turn the page. That's what we're doing, man.
Everybody's
Can't do anything about it.
Watching these kickers miss field goals. Calls getting holds are happening over here in the Monday night game. All kinds of crazy tuck rule happening almost, whatever. All kinds of stuff.
Phantom, roughing the passer penalties. I mean, just a bunch of craziness. Right. We had a Dez caught it. Did he catch it on a Hail Mary? Just a ton of stuff going on. What a way to end week 6 of your fantasy season. We got Tresner in the house. Shout out to the Guillotine League and my guy over in the Predator division of the Scott Fish Bowl. So shout out over there, which I think I'm getting 2 W's there by 1 point. So that's good stuff. We got Smokey Cat in the house saying he's 4-2, first place. And he has a question. So we'll get to that question here just in a little while. We will get to some live Q&A for you guys here. But real quick too, I want to give a little shout out to one of my son's friends who I found out watches the show. He's getting into fantasy football or has been playing for a little while. My son told him about the show. So shout out to Izzy, man. So hopefully you're watching, man. Hopefully you're doing well. Drop us a chat one time, man. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're watching or leave me a comment. But yeah, appreciate the support, man. So week 7, man, this is the waiver wire show. We're of course going to discuss kind of what happened here. We'll kind of do a quick little recap, go over the injuries, which there were a lot of them, but not so many at the same time. It's kind of interesting, but we'll get through that. Of course, we'll talk about our week 7 top waiver wire ads, and those guys are going to be 65% rostered or less. And then we'll get to a live Q&A section. We're going to cut out the risers and fallers, which was kind of like almost a transition to the kind of the trade show on Wednesday. So we'll just keep Wednesday to Wednesday, and let's just get more so to the stuff that everyone's looking for here tonight with those waiver ads and any questions coming out. So for anyone new, Frank, before we get into it, why don't you tell them what we got going on here on Get Right Fantasy Network?
All right. Well, on Tuesday nights, we have Tycoon hosting the Fantasy Boardroom. Wednesdays nights, Anthony and I do the extra. I'm sorry, not Anthony. We do Wednesday nights. So, anyways, later on. Sorry, I'm getting confused with my notes here. 2 shows. The Extra Point with Phil Ruskin. He comes on early. Dynasty Outlook, trades, Q&A, and then Anthony and I are on afterwards doing the roster management trade show, discussing buy, sell, hold targets on that night. Thursday, we got the Extra Point with Phil Ruskin doing daily fantasy and prop bets leading up to Thursday night football. Fridays, we got 2 shows for you, one at 6, one at 8 p.m. Was it Pacific Standard Time here? Part 1 and Part 2 of the game by game must start sit and sit start player preview. So we just go over basically the whole weekend's games that are coming up. Sunday mornings, we got Classic Mike doing the 8 p.m. AM show because he's up early in the East Coast doing the active, inactive, sit, start, Q&A, and a little bit of casual DFS lineup. And then Monday nights, like we're doing tonight, we're doing the, overreaction waiver wire show. We also got Kendall with the Fantasy Tavern and the Sweet Life with Cody McGoats. They aren't live yet, but they do drop shows here weekly on our channel. So please do give us a like, a subscribe. Remember to turn on notifications. Keep all that content coming here at Get Right Fantasy Network. The links are in descriptions. We also add timestamps, so you guys want to jump ahead to your area, player, things that you want to listen to. They're down below in the description, so check them out.
For sure. And like I mentioned, we will take your questions. So make sure you drop them in the chat now. If you drop us a super chat, we'll get to it right away. Otherwise, we'll get to them when we get to the live Q&A segment. So make sure you're dropping them in there because we will go in order. So without any further ado, let's get into some news and injury updates, man. Let's get those sleeves rolled up heading into week 7.
Get some work in here.
Let's do it. So we have the news topics and injury updates here. Just first and foremost, we do have 2 teams on a bye this week, the Chicago Bears as well as your Dallas Cowboys. Good time for a bye after that. Won't rub that in. Week 7 Thursday night football matchup this week is going to be Denver at New Orleans. So again, keep your eyes on that. You and I will preview that game on Wednesday night. So let's get into one of the biggest news items. I usually don't mention defensive player injuries here, but this was a brutal one, man. Aiden Hutchinson, man, gets one of those gruesome injuries where they don't even show the replay. Of course, it's all over YouTube, though. Just, viewer discretion, be advised. Broken tibia and fibula, hit it off friendly fire off his own guy's leg, off his own guy's shin. Just kind of.
Did you see that?
Angle. Yeah, I watched it. Of course,
that thing wrapped around his friend's leg, man. It was crazy.
That was brutal, dude.
And you could hear it. I heard that they replayed the thing, and you could hear the snap.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
And he was like defensive player of the year, man. That guy was a wrecking ball. It's going to be a huge blow to that defense. So we'll see what happens. He's obviously one of their captains, one of the leaders on that defense. And we all know defense win championships. And of course that defense has to bail out Campbell when he decides to go for it on 4th down all the time.
Right.
The defense is what gives him the opportunity in those sacks that Hutchinson does, allows him to make those decisions. So we'll see if that makes a difference, with play calling and things like that. So that's a big one. And some other news.
Look at this.
Yeah. Tough, man.
Too soon, Chesner.
Yeah, man, it was tough. It was tough. So we got Shane Steichen saying, barring a setback, looks like Anthony Richardson will make his return to the lineup this Sunday. So just keep your eye on that. It sounded like he was close, but Flacco ended up being kind of a last-minute active and gets it going. And then Mike McDaniel says he does expect Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa to play football in 2024, but they still are not determined on an exact date. They will continue to evaluate him and get him on the field when it's safe. So don't expect him back when he is immediately eligible after those 4 weeks, which I think is coming up after week 7. So I think week 8 here after their bye.
So would you play him if he comes back?
I mean, you have to. I mean, it's a boost for HA and a boost for Tyreek Hill and Waddle. I mean, it's going to be fine.
Helped up a lot.
Yeah, and remember, this is what everyone was thinking. Why no one was drafting him last year? He was like the steal of the draft last year. Had a big time year, especially for the cost. You paid for him. Was healthy all year. Nothing ever happened. So everyone was like, oh, forgot about it. Heading into this year, and then it happened. Reared its ugly head again. Yeah, no pun intended. And so it's just a tough situation there. So you obviously wish him the best. And you want him to come back when he's healthy, but definitely going to help out Hill and Waddle in that offense for sure. On Jordan Addison
tonight. Yeah.
Or Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
What's up with Jordan Mason or Jordan Madison? I don't know. We'll talk about it later. We'll get to you, Tresner. So as far as other injuries, man, Derek Carr still dealing with that oblique. He's out 3 to 4 weeks. You got Olave, who came up with a concussion, did not return. And then you had Rashid Shaheed dealing with a knee injury. They were all DNPs here. Again, we're getting that report because they have a Thursday game. We did have Jags running back Travis Etienne. He's dealing with a hamstring, week to week. You have Cardinals wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who left the game with a concussion and did not return. You have Canales saying that the Panthers hoping to open up the 21-day window for rookie Jonathan Brooks today. So we'll continue to see how that goes throughout the week. We may have his debut with, of course, Chuba Hubbard playing pretty well over there. I'm sure they'll kind of ease him in, but definitely, potential blow coming to Chuba Hubbard for those of us that have been using him here. For us, zero RB or hero RB guys, he's been kind of a savior. You have one of the guys kind of going the other way as well. Running back Jerome Ford. Not only is Nick Chubb looking like he's trending to come back this week, but Ford's dealing with a hamstring injury and is now considered week to week. So it looks like he's probably going to be out. But yeah, so we'll all see what happens here with Chubb. He might walk right into an immediate role. Maybe it'll be some Foreman or Pierre Strong. We saw both of them kind of get work. Just that offense is all kind of bad anyway, but they get the Bengals coming up, so could be a good outing for him if he does take the field. You have Packers wide receiver Dontavian Wicks dealing with the shoulder injury. He's considered week to week. 49ers running back Jordan Mason dealing with the shoulder injury, although he was participating. Yeah, there it is. So he was participating at the start of practice. He was in warm-ups and in a red non-contact jersey, so just something to kind of keep your eye on. Tajay Spears with the Titans, he's dealing with the hamstring injury. He's week to week. And maybe some good news here. You got wide receiver Cooper Kupp. He was going to be doing some workouts today with trainers off to the side, but no determination was going to be made about his availability for this Sunday's game against the Raiders. And don't expect Puka Nacua to practice this week either. He's still out for a couple more weeks. It looks like, even though he'll be eligible to come off IR here pretty soon. We have Dolphins running back Devon Achane. He was also in a red non-contact jersey this week. He's coming off that concussion, so we'll see what happens there. And then you had Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert ruled out of this Sunday's game. He was also dealing with a hamstring injury. All I have to say, man, is what's up with these athletic trainers, man? Like, why are these guys not being stretched out properly?
What's going on with all these hammies?
What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it happens. It's like it happens every so often. Every year, there's like a plague of them happening, and these concussions that are going around with Chris Olave and Marvin Harrison.
Guardian caps, man. Let's get some guardian caps out there.
Chris Olave got me -0.5 and -5 or whatever, and Marvin Harrison was 0. So I'm not too happy camper about
Travis Etienne -0.10.
But yeah, there's a lot of guys are wearing that guardian cap, and I don't see why not. Shoot, if it's going to help you, hopefully avoid an injury like that and stay on the field. And who wants to have concussions, as you've seen what's going on with these guys anyway? So I mean, like, there you go.
Yeah, and it's not like it sticks out like a sore thumb either. Like, you could barely even tell until they do like a close up. Like, when it's on the field, it's not like it looks like a bobblehead or anything. It's not like totally awkward or anything like that. So anyway. All right. So before we get to our waiver wire ads here, man, you want to tell the folks about our boys over at underdogfantasy.com?
Yeah, that's the best place to play some of the best fantasy sports out there. It's the easiest place to play any best ball. So we do a lot of best ball during prior to the season start here. So in the preseason, where you draft your team, you don't have to set any lineups. You don't have any long-term commitment, no waivers, no trades. You just go check your team scoring, and obviously, the higher you score, the more likely you are to win the prizes. So there's anything ranging from $3 up to $25. Or even more on those best ball tournaments. And right now we're currently doing the pick'ems, where you simply pick higher or lower on player stats, total yards, touchdowns, things like that, all statistics based. You look at those and you stack up what you have as far as players, and then you win some money there as well. Got to go sign up. Use promo code GetRight. Not only you receive up to 50% deposit match, now up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So use code GetRight to sign up, and support Underdog Fantasy, support us, and it all comes around. So.
For sure. And this week, not only will you get that 50% deposit match, you will get the free pick, which is plus or minus half a total yard from Bo Nix playing in this Thursday night game. So make sure you use that promo code Underdog. Take advantage now. And again, go visit underdogfantasy.com or download the fastest growing app from your app store. And it's Boost Over.
Boost Over.
Promos every day.
Every day.
So get in there. Good time. All right. So let's move on here to the top waiver wire ads. of the week. So we like to break them down by position here for you. And then at the end, we'll kind of go through and give you, kind of maybe our top three, how we have them ranked. But let's start here at the quarterback position. I know, Frank, you typically have more than I do. I did have three names here. No one that's really kind of, setting the world on fire or anything like that, but just maybe three names more so like in Superflex that you'd be looking out for that, did pretty well this week. But do you have anyone else you see on the board, or you want to talk about any of these three that I threw up here?
Well, I would just mention Justin Herbert because he's not very much owned. I don't see him on there, and maybe even possibly throw the hat in for Daniel Jones. Or, he's throwing up some numbers lately, actually. So it's kind of crazy. But just this last game here, got 21 to 34 passing for Justin Herbert, 237 yards, 1 touchdown. Give you 21 fantasy points on the week here. And then we also have, again, as I was mentioning, Daniel Jones, which is kind of crazy even just to say that. Like, I'm like, blah, blah. But, in deeper leagues or whatnot, if you need him, everybody's on the bye. He did produce 22 fantasy points this last outing against Cincinnati on a tough game there, 22 of 41, 205 yards, no touchdowns, 119. But he did, again, the yardage was there, and it was just a tough game. He's playing Philadelphia next, so we'll see how that goes. But just two other guys that I, want to throw in there. What do you got, man?
There you go. So you said that was Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert. He's at 39% right now.
And I have about 45 on Sleeper.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. And Daniel Jones. All right, good stuff. So the three I had were kind of two that were making their NFL debuts. Drake May, he's only 15% rostered. I think came out and finished as the what was it? QB. I think he was like QB 11 or so this week. Threw for 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I think he's the first quarterback to throw for like 3 touchdowns in a game, I think, since Tom Brady, but don't hold me to that stat. But it's definitely been, a while. Looked okay. Have to go back and, really watch the game film on it. 5 carries for 38 yards also on the ground. So we know he can, use his legs and escape the pocket. And was able to kind of, give Houston, a little run for their money. Got away from him, there towards the end. But, fantasy wise, not a bad day, 25.52 in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. So Drake May, someone just to kind of keep your eyes on. Another guy I had also making his NFL debut, Spencer Rattler for the New Orleans Saints. He came in and had 40 attempts, completed 22 of them, also for 243 yards, only 1 touchdown, did have 2 picks. Also was able to use his legs, 4 for 27 on the ground. Did have 5 sacks, only scored 14.42 points. But, just someone to kind of keep an eye out for if you are looking for a QB here during these bye weeks, someone to fill in, again, in those Superflex or 2 QB leagues. He could be someone that, could potentially put some points up for you. So definitely keep your eye out for Spencer Rattler, only 9% owned here on Sleeper. So make sure you go check him out. The other guy, rookie also, but he's been playing since the beginning. But quietly, his last couple games, he's been putting up some decent numbers, and that's going to be Bo Nix. He's coming in right now at 21% rostered, ends up the week with 24.71 points after coming off a 27.14 point game against the Raiders. He puts this up against the Chargers, going 19 for 33, 216, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Also got it going on the ground, 6 carries for 61 yards. He had 8 attempts last week and 5 the previous week, another 9 before that. So he can use his legs as well too. And we know what we say, about these running quarterbacks. They definitely can, put up some points. So again, scoring, 24 points off nice completions and 2 touchdowns and a pick, isn't bad. Again, gets New Orleans coming up here on Thursday, gets Carolina after that, Baltimore, Kansas City. So could be in some shootouts. We'll see if he continues to improve, but someone to keep an eye on. So Drake May, Spencer Rattler, and Bo Nix are who I have as my potential waiver wire ads here in week 7.
I think we do need to mention one more guy in here.
Let's do it.
And that's Caleb Williams. I'm just checking the ownership over here.
He's too high on.
No, because looking at this website here, Yahoo's just 69, but ESPN is only 50%.
Oh, okay.
I
So
know that. I
ESPN
know. I
is
want to
up.
mention him because I even dropped him because I had him originally, and he was just like bombing right off the bat. Things are, just wasn't looking good. But now he's come back as of late because he had a 7.2 points, 9.4, had almost a 20-point game. Then he came back down to earth with 11 points. But the last 2 outings, he's in the 20 plus points for his team there and his fantasy points. So he might still be out there. Just to mention that at him, he ended up 23 of 29 for 226 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Obviously, it was the big game of the week here, whatnot. But I mean,
4 on the ground too.
He's close enough on the fringe that I think we should mention, obviously, because he was like the big quarterback. Just in case he might be out there. So,
Yeah, and he is on a bye week this week, so you may be able to hold off. Maybe you can get him after waivers run. Yeah, 67% owned here on Sleeper, which is why he didn't quite make that 65%, but definitely worth an honorable mention. So well said there, Frank, helping the folks out. Yeah, that 2% sometimes isn't too big, but we usually got to draw the line somewhere else. We'll put half the league on here. But good stuff. I do.
But
like
you got to
that.
remember, Sleeper has
I like it.
Sleeper has a lot of dynasty leagues.
Yeah, and
dynasty leagues, and it elevates the numbers a little bit more. That's what I was looking at over here, and they had 69 on Yahoo, 50% on ESPN, so it's well below threshold on ESPN for those guys running those leagues. Not that I would pay in one, but whatever. I don't like ESPN.
Unless you guys pay us for ESPN.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not against. Yeah, we're not against we're not against any of that at all. So actually on Sleeper, if you're in a redraft like league, it'll show you the redraft percentage. If you're in Dynasty, it'll show you Dynasty percentage now. So in Dynasty, it's 99% owned, and redraft is 67. So just so you know, it is accurate when it comes to that now. Remember when I was telling you I only found that out because remember when I just kept messing up all the time and I was like, why does the percentage keep changing? It was because it was depending on what type of league I am. It was giving me the ranking for that type of league with those scoring settings in Sleeper now. So anyway, we'll move on here. Let's go on to running backs. So our top running back waiver wire ads for week 7. Who do you have as one of your top running backs? I'll throw it to you. Unless you want me to go.
We'll talk about Tyrone Tracy, man. I mean, right off the bat,
there you go.
The guy's balling out. He had an opportunity with Devin Singletary going down. He's putting up some decent numbers over there for, again, going for the Giants here. I guess they're having a resurgence over there. Something's going on. 70 to 10, 50 yards, 11 yard long for 1 touchdown. Yeah, he did get to some receiving work. So 6 receiving targets. 6 catches, 57 yards as well in the air. Ends up with 16.7 fantasy points on the day on standard scoring. I guess I could put it on half for full PPR here. On that, it's 22.7 full PPR. So, yeah, I guess that's the top one I'd like to mention.
There you go. I'm going to go with a guy who had a big day. Thank goodness his counterpart also had a big day, or else we'd be freaking out. And this was Tyler Algier. After I was just talking about last week how he's never had more than 10 carries in a game. They do go up against Carolina, who has one of the worst rushing defenses in the league this year. He does get 18 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. Had 1 catch for 3 yards on 1 target. But, Tyler Algier has a big game. And that was, again, with Bijan still having, a big game himself. So, Bijan ends up going 15 carries. He had less carries, had 95 yards and 2 touchdowns, and had 3 catches on 4 targets, only 10 yards. But again, we'd like to see those 2 touchdowns at least for him before, Tyler Algier got his. Did play his least amount of snaps here this week at 56%. Bijan did. But again, when you're going up against, Carolina, he still outsnapped Algier to 41%. Algier, they're only 40% owned. So, I mean, as you see here, if anything were to happen to Bijan, like Algier should be way more owned than 40%. I know it's tough right now going through bye weeks, which is why his ownership percentage is like this. But, if he's going to get, this type of work, it's Seattle, Tampa Bay, and then Dallas in the next 3 games. You never know. So he's definitely someone I'm looking to roster if you have a spot to stash someone. Who else you got at running back?
I'd like to mention Ray Davis, who was like late start. They said Cook is
There you
out.
go.
He gets the start. He got 20 attempts for 97 yards, almost 100. No touchdowns. Did get some receiving, 3 for 3 for 55 yards. Ends up getting you 15.2. Obviously on a high-powered offense. Very low ownership because he's mostly a handcuff to Cook. He's been like that. But unfortunately, since it was a Monday night game, I don't think too many people were um, waiting to start him or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of like the late game to do it on. It was, but if Cook is out next week, I would definitely be starting this guy. 10% on Yahoo, 8% ESPN. What do we got? 19% on Sleeper. So very widely available on a good high power offense. Give that man a shot.
Yeah, especially like you said, if Cook's going to miss any extended time here dealing with that foot and toe injury, which is usually a turf toe, could take a couple weeks. It sounded like maybe he was close this week, but who knows? Maybe a little gamesmanship going on because he was ruled out pretty quick this morning. It wasn't like game time decision and he just couldn't go. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, but it's a tough go if you have to wait till Monday to find out if you have the backup at that point, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. But next week it'll make it easier. So they play a Sunday game, you get spots to start them already.
Right. Another guy I want to mention here might have kind of actually, I think we were talking about it kind of pre-show. His ownership actually dropped from 36% on Sleeper to 35% now, most likely because they are coming off their bye week. So it might be a chance that, he got dropped here heading into the bye. Don't forget Aaron Jones got hurt. So that's going to be Ty Chandler. So you got Aaron Jones dealing with that hip injury. They said he avoided anything long-term, but it didn't say it wasn't, like he was going to be in jeopardy of potentially missing the game. So we'll see when it comes to Wednesday, when they opened up and come back from the bye week here on Wednesday. But definitely someone, to maybe, throw some fab on just in case they do get Detroit, missing now Hutchinson. And I think they lost another person on the defense as well, in addition to Hutchinson, but, that kind of overshadowed it. So again, with Aaron Jones potentially being hurt in this high-powered offense, the last of the undefeated teams here, Ty Chandler could be a nice piece heading into Week 7 with guys like DeAndre Swift. And I mean, I guess Dowdle, not too many people, big time names really missing here on bye weeks, but of course, with all the other injuries at the running back position, it could be a nice start plug and play type guy here this week. Again, only 36% owned on Sleeper. Or it's 35, he's 36 now. So maybe some of those leagues that have open waivers, people are starting to creep up on him. So there we go. Anyone else you want to mention here on the running backs to add here for Week 7?
Well, we'll go with your team. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't bring up Isaac Arendo.
I'm kind of going by roster sit percentage, so we'll see.
Which is kind of rough on that one because who else is over there? I forgot.
Patrick Taylor.
That was getting some licks. No, besides Isaac, there was
that's why I said Patrick Taylor.
No, it was another guy, not Patrick Taylor.
It was Isaac Arendo, Patrick Taylor, were the 2 running backs there.
Huh. Okay, I thought it was somebody else.
And Mason, but yeah, I mean, there's no one really else.
But yeah, I mean, literally nobody owns this guy. 4% Yahoo, 1% ESPN. That's who I was thinking. Kyle Juszczyk.
Oh, he's the fullback.
He's the fullback.
He's.
But I mean, he still gets touchdowns. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. He gave it to his wife.
That's what I was thinking. Because they use him as a running back. Fullback, running back, or whatever.
More like a receiver.
Anyways, 5% on Sleeper. He did have a decent game. He had a long one called back on him or whatever. I remember it. Didn't that happen? He had a lot, but he did get one long run in.
No, he iced it. Yeah, his big run iced the game.
It was like a 50, long as 76.
76-yard run. Yeah.
10 attempts, 99 yards. 76 is the.
He could have scored, but he went down. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we know, we've always been picking up those running backs. I'm not sure how long Mason's going to be out. Right? We don't really know.
Or if
right
he's
now.
out. Yeah.
It's like day to day right now. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
So just again, Mason, again, I mentioned it in the beginning. He was in a red non-contact jersey, but was out there. So we'll see what happened. He obviously went back in, left out. They just said they didn't know how serious it was, and Shanahan didn't want to, take a chance. Obviously, already being down McCaffrey. But yeah, so definitely Garindo. He looked good. You like to see that type of burst with his speed. So we'll take it.
Might as well handcuff him now, because if Mason does go down, you got him on board.
There you go.
Start.
And the guy he kind of split with was actually Patrick Taylor. They both played 25% of the snaps. Well, Garindo played 26. Taylor played 25. Taylor also had 1 catch for 12 yards in the passing game, had 5 runs for 16 yards, 3.2 yard average. So, he wasn't bad himself. 6'2", 217, a bigger back. So, who knows how those guys might kind of split, might be a 1-2 combo should Mason, be out. I don't think Shanahan will put the whole workload on either one of them. So it'll most likely be a split like we saw. We have other weapons. There's also Debo, and he's really the running back too.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Yeah, he'll be more the running back, and then which would be good for Ayuk owners as well too. So anyway, enough about the Niners. I'll sit there and talk all day on it. I can't believe we made it this far into running back waiver wire ads, and we didn't mention the actual RB1 overall this week. You know who that is? Without looking,
The RB1 overall this week? No.
Yeah. Do you know who scored the most fantasy points at the running back position this week?
I'll look it up though.
I give you a million guesses. You never guess. Sean
Tucker.
There it is.
I'll look it up though.
0% owned. Yeah, 0% owned. Comes out, plays only 38% of the snaps. Obviously, Rachaad White's out. Bucky Irving has a big game. And he goes 14 for 136, 9.71 yard average, broke some big runs, scored the touchdown, 3 catches for 56 yards, and another touchdown in the air. Kind of looked really, really good, actually. So this was a name in dynasty, circles that we've been talking about, for the last couple of years, or not couple of years, but, as of last year, thought he might be the one to come in and actually take over. But Rachaad White played really well. And then, they end up, drafting Bucky Irving. So we all thought, maybe Tucker's, on the fringe, maybe not even make the team. But he kind of showed why he was taken there. A lot of people, I know, like Rez, our boy from the Frontline podcast, he actually had Sean Tucker, I believe, as his RB1 that year when those guys came out. So he really liked what he saw. It's only 1% rostered right now. He was 0% earlier. But if Rachaad White is going to miss any extended time, it looks like they might have a split, with Bucky and Sean Tucker after what he did. I don't know, it might be hard to put the genie in the box. And this also might mean Rachaad White might almost be out of a job either, because 136, and he could get it done in the air too, 3 for 3 for 56. Rachaad White, man, you better get back on the field if you want to hold your job. So Sean Tucker, definitely someone,
he's already been
if you have a spot to stash. Yeah, there you go. I do have a couple more, man. A lot of running back stashes out there, I think, here this week. Anybody else you want to mention, or you want to get in the last two that I have?
Go ahead.
So just real quickly, Kamani Vidal, he's 16% owned here on Sleeper. He had obviously filling in for Gus Edwards, who looks like he might be going on the IR. He only played 24% of the snaps, 4 carries for 11 yards. Did have 2 catches for 40 yards in the passing game and scored a touchdown there. So just someone to kind of keep an eye on if Gus Edwards is going to miss an extended time. And if anything were to happen to J.K. Dobbins now, Kamani Vidal looks like he's the handcuff to own for J.K. Dobbins. So just, again, keep an eye on him, someone to stash, again, with Gus headed towards IR. So again, not someone you're looking to, put in your lineups this week. This would be for, you 5-0, or 6-0, 5-1, 4-2 type teams, to kind of stash somebody, if you can. And the other guy, he played tonight, didn't do much here tonight, which was, music to the Brees Hall owners' ears. But Braden Allen still sitting in there at 57% rostered. Definitely somebody who should be owned if you have a spot to stash. He's kind of like my honorable mention. So that's all I got. Anybody else you want to mention? Or are you ready to move on to wide receivers?
No, that's plenty of running backs. As far as we even actually have that many options available this late in the season of some viable guys. Some guys that are actually starting or the guys that are more handcuff, worthy and or flex starts. You know what I mean? But yeah,
and guys that are looking
crazy.
good, like if they need to come and take in, like they might actually have a role, and they're not just going to be, not even worth, keeping.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They're putting up
The
points
guys are
when they come
actually
in.
might earn a long shirt hold down there, and like say flex spot guys at least RB2.
There you go.
2 numbers here, so yeah, it'd be nice.
For
It's,
sure.
it's crazy. This late in the season.
There it is. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our top wide receiver waiver wire ads here for week 7. So, Frank, you want to start it off? Who do you want to mention as a wide receiver ad?
Oh, no, go ahead. Start. I wasn't ready. I'm sorry.
Okay, my bad. No, it's all good.
I just realized I haven't been
throw it
keeping
to you.
any time.
Oh, it's all
I was
good.
like,
I can
the
go
time
back.
steps. I was like, I'll look at it right now.
It's all good.
Go ahead.
All right, so wide receivers for week 7 here. I'm going to mention, I'm going to do like I always do and try to get 2 for 1 in here. And I'm going to say the Green Bay wide receivers who didn't get hurt. And that's Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs coming off the squeaky wheel game. He's only 51% owned after having the whole, situation last week of, him wanting to be, included in the offense and then, them bro hugging it out and working it all out. He probably should have been in everyone's kind of lineups here this week. I know I started him and pretty sure everywhere that I had him. He goes 3 catches, only 4 targets, but gets 49 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game, playing 74% of the snaps. Interestingly, still the least amount of snaps so far, but that is, of course, with Christian Watson coming back. And then as the aforementioned Christian Watson making his return back to the lineup after missing just a game with that ankle injury that looked pretty brutal. So it was nice to see him come back. Again, 3 catches on 4 targets, 68 yards in that beautiful touchdown catch. He ended up with 15.8 yards, only 42% rostered. I just think, in this offense with this, quarterback, he still can be the number 1. Obviously, Jaden Reed looks like he's that guy. A lot of folks thinks that his efficiency isn't attainable. And I just think, the upside for Watson, especially in half and non-PPR leagues, he's just somebody at, 6'4", 200, 8 pounds, someone you look for in the red zone and is pretty fast. So those are my 2. Who else you got at the wide receiver position?
So wide receiver spot, one of my guys that I own a couple leagues here is Josh Downs, man. Josh Downs been holding it down the last couple weeks here. He's had 7 grabs and 66 receiving yards. Hasn't finished fewer than that in the last 2 games. And he scored at 2 out of 3 last outings. And this last week, he ended up going 7 for 9, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown. He even had a rushing attempt, but it was for negative yards. But, 12.5 fantasy points here on this week. And
19.5 in full PPR.
Yeah, Anthony is getting those in there.
Gotcha.
Yahoo's 48%. ESPN is 49%.
68 on Sleeper, which is why he wasn't on my list, but good call.
Yeah. And
only thing to watch out for, Anthony Richardson coming back. So just buyer
which
beware.
is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy with that. But I'm hoping that he can, withstand that. I know that Pittman's been struggling. A little slight injury going on with him right now. But Josh Downs, he's been holding it down. So I'm happy to look for him.
Well done, Josh Jones. All right, so I'll go with a name I don't think we've mentioned, but now with the quarterback change, looks like this guy who I drafted actually in several places, I thought he would be semi-relevant in best ball, getting him super late, and that's going to be Pop Douglas, a.k.a. Demario Douglas with the New England Patriots. He had himself a game, only 62% of the snaps, but goes 6 for 9 for 92 yards and a touchdown, so you'd like to see it. And again, this was against the Houston defense, with Drake May. Again, I have to go back and watch this game completely, but I was watching the highlights and seeing things get done over there. Again, the ball's, being moved around. Again, it ended up being 41-21. So it's not like, the final score, I don't think really did it complete justice. But, I think the Patriots did look better, kind of overall. And there were some, a couple points there. Like I said, the Houston kind of pulled away late. It felt pretty close there early on. But he could definitely be someone, as you're getting through some bye weeks here. Again, I'm not unloading your fab or anything like that. But just could be a nice bench depth piece if you are looking for a wide receiver. Does get Jacksonville next to, Caleb Williams just carved up another rookie. And those wide receivers and, the tight end, Evan Ingram, 8. So maybe keep an eye out for Hunter Henry, who we may or may not be mentioning later in the show because of that as well. But go ahead, Frank. Who else you got at the wide receiver position? Only 14% owned in sleeper, by the way, for Demario Douglas.
Look this guy up here, see what he's got on here. But I was looking at Michael Wilson over here in Arizona. I had just recently picked him up myself here last week. I didn't start him yet, but wanted to have some surety here. I mean, he only got 2 for 4 for 21 yards and a touchdown over there. But he's been having 2 nice games as of late. So it's somebody to keep an eye on. Only 16% on Yahoo, 14% ESPN. I'm not sure what is it, 20% sleeper here. So good numbers, good low numbers. Somebody kind of stash, put away. But I like him.
There you go. Well said, Michael Wilson. Like you said, that MHJ injury is going to be interesting. So we'll see what happens. I'll leave this. Yeah, I'll leave this guy for you. I'll go with this other guy here since I've been talking bad on the. You know what I'm talking about. Darius Slayton, man. I've been saying all kind of bad things about New York Giants here. But Daniel Jones, like you said, man, when you give him the little props up there in the quarterback position, man, he's been moving this offense. I don't know if it's fool's gold or what's going on over there. And this has been without Malik Neighbors, right? Like he was the wide receiver one when he left out hurt with that concussion, which is a whole other story. Hopefully he's getting better, missing 2 games plus the extra time. He hasn't played since like 2 Thursdays ago. So it's even longer than the 14 days of a regular, 2 weeks missed dealing with that concussion. But in his stead, Slayton has seen 11 targets in the last 2 games. Did better in the previous game against Seattle, 8 for 122 and a touchdown. This week only had 6 catches on those 11 targets for only 57 yards. But still, he was kind of in and out of the lineup. He kept kind of missing a couple plays here and there, getting banged up, twisted up and whatnot, but kept coming out there. Still played 86% of the snaps. Only scored 11.7 points. Kind of that Cincinnati Giants game was kind of a dud. Thought there'd be more offense with those defenses that kind of being quote unquote so bad, but they definitely showed up that night. But Slayton, from Neighbors is to miss another game. He does get Philly next. Pittsburgh might be tough, and then Washington after that. Both of those, are going to be, I think, top 5 in points given up allowed to the wide receiver position. So again, if Neighbors continues to miss at this extended time with this concussion, I think Slayton could be somebody in your PPR leagues that could fill in here for over the next, at least 2 out of the next 3 weeks. And then gets Carolina after that, and then they're bye week 11. So maybe 3 out of the next 4.
Yeah, and I've been spot starting him here in my dynasty league here. I've had him, held on to that guy, and I actually had to use him because I had so many injuries and just bye weeks and everything else. He had to go in the lineup, and he did me all right. And I was like, all right, there we go.
There it is. There it is.
Worked out for me.
All right, who do you got next?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go with my guy. My favorite best ball guy, Alan Lazard here. I mean, going up for the Hail Mary tonight. What a touchdown. He seems to be, again, always getting those looks from Aaron Rodgers there. And, it's not pretty. It's not high volume all the time, but he gets touchdowns. 6 to 7 targets, 114 yards. Along of 52 for a touchdown tonight, 17.4 fantasy points. Let me pull it up on full PPR. It's 23.4 full PPR points for him tonight. And he's like kind of just been there, keeps doing it week in, week out. Literally double digit scoring for the past 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks here. So I mean, definitely you're able to start him. I mean, like, it's not pretty, but he gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, he's what? I want to say he's like what? Wide receiver? Hold on. I don't even want to misquote it. I want to make sure I have it correct here. Wide receiver. Oh, I thought he was doing better. He's wide receiver 27 right now, but compared to this guy, you got him with your last pick, 18 rounds in best ball, and he's coming back as the wide receiver 27 right now. Like that's not bad at all. So that's not a bad ROI. So well said there on Alan Lazard. I'm gonna go with a guy who honestly I didn't even know was playing football prior to this week. With the Chris Olave injury, his concussion, and obviously them playing on Thursday, he will probably not make it for this game. So the guy who benefited most from him being out was Bub Means. He is 0% owned non-sleeper. Like I said, I don't think anybody knows who he is. But with Olave out, he sees 8 targets, gets 5 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. Again, this is with backups Spencer Rattler. So maybe these two have some rapport, man. Playing on the practice squad or something together.
Team.
Like often. You never know. Like this kind of stuff, kind of happens this way with when backup quarterbacks come in. They kind of zero in on guys that they're comfortable with. That they know how they run, how fast they run, where they can put the ball, where they like it. So you never know, man. Might be some breakfast club going on. And he might even be startable this week. So like I said, 0% owned on sleeper, and scored 15.5 points in a full PPR, going again 5 for 8 for 45 and a touchdown. Gets Denver on Thursday, and that's Denver without Pat Surtain. So we saw Denver, their defense didn't look different. Pat Surtain dealing with the concussion, most likely
sounds
not
like a daily fantasy start either.
Right there you go, man. So check him out. So we'll see what happens there against Denver on Thursday, but he is out there. So if you need someone to start this week, he'll be there. So there we go. Let's see. The other guys I have are just more like kind of honorable mentions. I don't need to get into it too much. You got Keon Coleman played tonight, didn't do well. He's at 65% owned, so he's right there on that borderline. And then your guy, Jalen Tolbert, 51% owned right now. Didn't have a good week this last week. Nobody in Dallas really did, but I don't think we expect that to be who Dallas is the rest of the year. With Brandon Cook still dealing on the IR with that infection, most likely looking at extended missed time. I think this bye week can maybe help out and let these guys get their stuff together, and Tolbert could make a nice run for you down the home stretch. So,
and I did want to remind people, just in case they didn't go after, or maybe you guys didn't want to hold on to guys like Juju Smith-Schuster last week because he was on a bye week this week. But, if somebody didn't pick him up in your league, I mean, he was widely available, obviously. So, you want to kind of remember that this week in case, because he won't be up there in the trending or anything anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
good call. I didn't even have him on there. Good call. 33% owned on sleeper, so he is still out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
he should be definitely up.
Yeah.
Because
at least to see, maybe you don't feel comfortable, throw him in there because it is still Juju Smith-Schuster, but you can't argue with 7 on 8 for 130. No touchdown, but 7 for 130 is pretty nice. So you'll take those 20 points any day. They do get the Niners next. Secondary is banged up a little bit. Little Super Bowl rematch. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. So Juju Smith-Schuster. Well said, Frank. Good one. That's a freaking good one. I can't believe I missed that. I thought I was getting all smart, with Ty Chandler, and missed it for the wide receiver position. So there you go, man. That's where we're a good team here. Good stuff. All right. So anyone else you want to mention here? Any honorable mentions or anything like that at the wide receiver position?
Plenty of wide receivers, which is deep. I mean,
trying to give you guys options.
The Green Bay guys, Watson and Dobbs. So want to keep an eye on those guys. I mean, I think we covered everybody, really.
Good stuff. All right, man. So let's move on here, and we will be getting to your guys' questions. So keep dropping them in the chat. You can always drop us a super chat, and we'll get to it right away. But really, no needs. Yeah, we're almost done. We'll get through probably 1 or 2 tight ends that we even have. I don't even know if I put any on the list. So we'll see what happens. So I usually turn this segment over to you, Frank. Tight end waiver wire ads for Week 7. Who do you got for me? Because I don't think I put anybody on the list. Besides Hunter
Zach Ertz, man. Zach Ertz over there in the Washington Commanders. Dude, he's been doing steady Eddie work over there. It's not pretty. Obviously, anybody who's doing any kind of work here in the tight end position is worth something. This week he went 4 or 5 for 68 yards. Didn't even get a touchdown. But I'm telling you, tight end production this year is way down. So you're happy to get some kind of numbers like that. Who was leading this week? Do you remember?
Cole Kmet, 24
That's
points,
right.
70 yards, 2 touchdowns. Probably
That's what we
nobody
need to
saw
mention.
because they were still sleeping here on the West Coast at 6 a.m. But he went
Yeah.
crazy, 5 for 5. Again, 70 yards and 2 touchdowns as your tight end one this week.
Oh, and the other guy,
George
Evan
Kittle.
Ingram.
Oh, yeah.
Ingram,
he was tight end
I
3.
know. Yeah, he was tight end 3. Really good numbers as well. I know he's not, very widely owned right now.
Nah, he's
And
75%. He's still on.
oh,
No one
is
was
he?
really
Oh,
dropping
shoot.
him.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess they held on.
That's why I was like, I don't really have anyone. Like, that's why I was like,
I just want to mention he had a good week, and I was like, hold on, is
Yeah.
anybody else? I'm looking at the rest of the list. I don't see anybody that stands out that you'd want to be starting with any kind of confidence at all.
I mean, this is kind of like the way this kind of finished this week, besides a couple names, is actually kind of, closer to what's normal. Like you got Kittle, Ingram, McBride, Bowers, Andrews, finally, Laporta, tight end 9, Kyle Pitts as tight end 12, it was just nice kind of seeing some of those, high end names actually finish, top 12 this week.
Come back, right? Have a decent week.
Yeah. So, yeah, Noah Fant, little honorable mention here. He did well against the Niners. But again, he's pretty much owned. I don't know if you can start him each week. Calcaterra as your, 11 and I mean, just, he was since Goddard got hurt. I don't know if you want to play him or not. Kate Otton's a guy out there, and Njoku coming off injury, but Watson looks terrible. So, just tight end, man. If there's a guy out there, just kind of throw him out there. Hope he scores a touchdown. I don't know what to tell you about tight end, man.
Spray and pray right there, right?
Trade for someone.
Right now, I traded for Brock Bowers, and then Mark Andrews had his revival here. So now I got both of those guys rolling, so I'm feeling pretty good about those two dudes.
Yeah, exactly. So it is what it
that
is.
Should be it, though.
All right, so that should wrap up tight ends, man. So let's get to some live Q&A here. But before we do, our live Q&A section is brought to you by our boys over at TrophySmack.com. For those of you guys who don't know, go check out TrophySmack.com, man. You can get yourself a sweet, customized trophy. Something like this, where you can get engravings and things like that. It's a perfect thing to add to your. Let me take off this banner here. Perfect thing to add to your league. Not only that, they have also, of course, belts. They got their rings. Your Kirk Cousins chains. All these things are fully customizable, as you can see. We even did one and gave that away for our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. We'll do another one when we hit 2,000 subscribers. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button for us as we get closer. I think we just crossed 1.3 thousand on Friday. So again, we appreciate all your guys' support. But this is about TrophySmack.com, not Get Right Fantasy. So make sure you guys go check them out. And again, use that promo code Get Right on checkout. And that'll help support the show, man, and get something like this. Again, one of these custom rings for only $7 extra per person in a 12-person league. You can get this to keep every year. So it's pretty awesome. And I have myself one right here.
Somewhere around here, rolling around.
I don't know why I'm not wearing it. It's because we're halfway in the season now. I feel like I gotta earn it again. But we got that bad boy right here in the box. It's nice. It's heavy. And it's where you got to go, man. TrophySmack.com. So go check them out.
Check them out, man. Check them out.
All right, let's get to some questions here. I'll let you get to the top there, Frankie, and you can take it away since I feel like
we got to start with Smoking the Cat Cat. These guys are a little slow tonight, but all right. Hey, what it is here. We got Smoking the Cat Cat coming in here. He's got Stash One, Keon Benson, right, or Ty Chandler. Thanks. We got a Stash One.
All right, so
Keon Coleman,
Louis Stashin, Keon Coleman, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, Chandler. So Benson and Wright are out for me. Benson's usage been going up just a smidge more here. Keon's looking like someone you can get rid of. I just feel like as soon as he pops, he can be one of those guys like Amon-Ra, like Christian Watson, like, OBJ, his rookie year, like where they just, finish strong in the second half of the year when things finally kind of start clicking and, get going there. And that trust, builds up over time. But if you need someone, again, at 4-2 first place right now, depending on, again, what injuries or whatever you're suffering, I kind of still like stashing Chandler. But for the long term, I probably stick with Keon out of those guys.
I was thinking Keon myself because I just don't see Chandler. They had a good game, but I think it was just because it was wide open, the defense that they played against. So it was a perfect opportunity for both Bijan and Ty Chandler to have a decent game, right? I just don't think that's going to happen too many between, and I don't think the team's going to go away from Bijan and his usage. So that's why I like Keon Coleman. He does get some. I mean, he's like wide receiver 3 numbers. I mean, he gets every once in a while.
Wait, hold on. You said Bijan. Do you mean Connor? Were you thinking Connor, like for Benson?
No.
Or H.M. right?
Keon Coleman. No, I was thinking I wanted to keep Keon Coleman instead of Benson or right.
My bad. I thought I heard you
like
say
Keon
Bijan.
Coleman.
Did you say Benson? I thought I heard you say Bijan.
No, I said Bijan. Bijan Robinson being over there and Ty Chandler.
In Atlanta. No, it's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones. Ty Chandler's the backup to Aaron Jones. Tyler Algier is the backup to
never mind.
Bijan. Yeah, that's why I was like, you confused me for a second. I think you just got yourself confused. Yeah.
Shoot, I got myself all confused up too. Never mind.
Yeah. So no, Ty Chandler. Remember, Aaron Jones dealing with that hip injury, but Ty Chandler's been looking good, even as just kind of like a potential kind of flex guy.
Yeah.
But then Jones kind of took it over again, but then he got hurt, and then they went on bye, right? So we don't know what's going on there. But I just think those guys, those 3 running backs, need an injury ahead of them, whereas Coleman's already there. The opportunity's there. He just needs to continue to build the trust and, has just a higher chance to take over there. So at 4 and 2, I'd be able to continue with that.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I just like Keon Coleman, regardless of that. That whole other
there you go.
Mess up his backup. We was backing up for on there. Who do we got? We had Thomas coming in saying, "What's up, man?" Just want to say a shout out to Thomas here, Robert Thomas. And
Thomas.
He says, Jason Ortiz says, "Will you trade 2 of these wide receivers, Sutton, Cooper, Wan'Dale Robinson, Juju for Debo?" So he's trying to take 2 of those to get Debo. Ooh, I don't know. Wan'Dale Robinson's doing all right. Cooper Kupp.
I would trade Sutton and Robinson.
I think I'd say Kupp.
Or maybe Sutton and Cooper.
Yeah, Sutton Cooper. That's what I would move on. Juju, you got a
unless
great
you
opportunity over there in
Jameis is going to come pretty soon. Yeah, I'll take the guys. I mean, I hate saying it, but like even when Neighbors comes back, Wan'Dale might even be better once the coverage starts getting rolled to Neighbors. Right now, he's the one and still doing pretty decent. But I think he can do even better once Neighbors is even there. He may lose some targets, so to speak, but that he's not going to be going up against the best coverage.
The number 1 guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to keep Wan'Dale Robinson and Juju for those reasons if you're trying to get Debo. That's a good question. That's a good one to try to see what you got there. Xenon here, it says, would A.J. Brown or Jamar be fair, and who wins the trade? No PPR.
Non-PPR? I still want Jamar, but it's literally pick your poison. I mean, A.J. Brown is just great at football. Arthur Juan, like we were talking about it in our group chat, just seeing him back, it's just like it's a breath of fresh air. But we've seen what Jamar Chase is capable of, man. I mean, yeah, T. Higgins come back, but even with them back, man, last week he had like 40-something points, It's just he can literally just win you weeks. Like he's that kind of guy. When he gets in the right zone and they get the right matchups, like he's going to just win you weeks. AJ Brown, I don't think it has as high of a ceiling, but he can get close to that, and he might even be a little more consistent. So again,
I think that's what he has, a little bit more consistency.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just literally
everything else.
Yeah, if you like one guy versus the other, I look at like matchups and things like that. But they each have a viable number 2 in Devonta Smith and T. Higgins. Neither one of them really have a stud tight end, so to speak. Like they're really pretty much kind of the same guy. I just think Jamar Chase is just a smidge better. I think the Cincinnati defense isn't as good, which is going to put him in more shootout, type situations. So I just kind of like the setup for Chase a little more. And I just think Burrow's better for Chase than Hurts is for AJ Brown because he's not going to really win, although he scored the touchdown 46 yards. Anyway,
anyways.
Go ahead.
So we got GZ going on here. We were having a conversation earlier. The backup QB and wide receiver dynamic is always a fun one to analyze. And like we were talking about, him being the backup wide receiver as well. So they already had some report in practice or whatnot. And then we also mentioned Evan Ingram he wasn't making out most of those drafts.
What's up, Jeezy?
And he wasn't. So we got Xena coming over here. Team is Love, Darnold, JT, Kyron, Swift, Tyrone, dropped for Bijan and Thomas, and Cook, Jay Jettas, AJ Hill, Cup, Kelsey, and Kittle. What should I make? What move should I make? I'm trading Love for Hurts, AJ for Chase. So he's trading Love to get
Just weird straight up trades like that are just weird for me.
And why would you want?
So he's trying to get the Hurts AJ stack. In just a regular like 12-man league, I don't think the stack is so important. Like I wouldn't trade myself out of Chase and out of Love. Like if anything, it's almost better at not having your eggs all in one basket.
Yeah.
Like because Love can have a good game. Like if Hurts doesn't have a good game, like AJ Brown's also not having a good game. Whereas, you know, if Love doesn't have a good game, like AJ Brown can still have a good game because they're in a totally different game. I mean, again, just depending on how you feel about that, usually stacking is only real important more so like in best ball or bigger tournament type places. You know, it still does, you know, help in a smaller skill situation, but I'd only do that if you're literally at the same tier and you're kind of using it as like a tier breaker. Like I'm not trading myself out of Chase and out of Love just for Hurts and AJ Brown. Like unless you're getting another piece like with that or something else, like I think I'm fine with Hurts and I think I'm fine with Love and Chase. And did Green Bay have their bye week
the
already?
more stuff that I'll give you the more stuff. It says Bijan manager only wants Jay Jettas. Think this may change for wide receivers, so I should give if this occurs. Brees manager would trade him, but maybe Jacobs is someone I'm eyeing. I'm 4-2, no PPR, and he's eyeing Allen. I'm right there with Anthony. I don't see why you want to get the stack if that's what you're going for. I'd prefer to have guys on different teams.
Well, if you are going trying to get Jacobs, then maybe trading Love for Hurts helps, but I'd still keep Chase. So like if you want to get Hurts, Jacobs, and Chase, like that's what you finish with at the end of your trades. Like I'm okay with that combination versus like Love, you know, Love and Jacobs, right? So yeah, I don't know. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, and I'm definitely not trading Jay Jettas. And if he has,
and he's dropping Tyrone.
So he's saying
Tom
AJ
Brian
for
Thomas.
Chase. Oh, so he's trading AJ for Chase.
Yeah, he's trying to.
So he'd end up with Hurts, Chase, Josh Jacobs. Okay, I don't mind that. Yeah, like I prefer the Hurts, Jacobs, Chase over Love, whoever, and AJ Brown. I think I like the Hurts Jacobs one. I don't know where that was, but hopefully that makes sense.
He's asking which 2024 running back are you most interested in, Nick Chubb or Jonathan Brooks? I personally am in Nick Chubb because I got him. So.
I mean, I have both of them in several places.
I don't have any Jonathan Brooks, but it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I have him in our keeper league, as you know. So I'm definitely interested to see him. I mean, we've already seen Nick Chubb. I mean, I'm more just like, I hope he gets back on and he plays well and doesn't get hurt. Like, you know, like that's what I'm hoping for. Just to have him come back after such a gruesome, you know, injury. I just think that's good. But yeah, Jonathan Brooks, I'm most interested in because he's a player I haven't seen play in the NFL yet. So I would say I'm most interested in Jonathan Brooks more so than Chubb, but definitely interested in both. Good question. Appreciate that, Jesus.
Yeah, Cam the Horn. Should I drop Amari Cooper and or Tolbert for Douglas, Algier, or Madison PPR?
I mean, if you really need a running back, I mean, I would drop Tolbert for Algier, especially since Tolbert's on a bye week this week, just to, you know, see how that kind of plays out this next week and see if Algier, if that was just kind of an aberration or if, you know, he is going to get that much work. Again, both guys got, you know, 15 and 18 carries respectively. That's a ton of carries, 33 carries for the game. That's a lot. But again, it was Carolina. Douglas, I'm not dropping quite yet for Amari Cooper still. Like Cooper had, you know, one terrible drop that he should have, you know, had. But he's still the one and only guy there. So like, again, if you're willing to drop Cooper Kupp, then Pop Douglas on a quote unquote worse offense, maybe debatable, better quarterback. I would just assume that, I'm still going to hold on to Cooper, especially just holding out hope that maybe we see Jameis Winston, here soon. I mean, I know Stefanski came out today and said Watson gives him the best chance to win and yada, yada, yada. But, we'll see how long that lasts as the L's continue to pile up. So, yeah. Appreciate it, Jeezy. What up, man? Hope you're safe, my guy, dealing with that darn hurricane over there, man. So hope you're good and hope you got power back and life hopefully is starting to get a little back to normal. He says Dallas Goedert, is he RIP?
Sorry about that. So further notice, I mean, that guy is old.
No, I think he's just dealing with the hamstring. I mean, hamstrings right now have been basically 2 to 4 weeks. Nico Collins went on IR. Like everyone who's basically hurt their hamstring is kind of going on IR. So we'll see. But I just think this is great for AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. Usually when one of those guys is gone, the other two eat pretty well. So, but as you saw, the other guy scored Grant Calcaterra. He was like tied in like 9 or 10 this week. So who knows? All right, who else we got? You got another question there?
Yeah, so we got
Yeah, cut me off when I start rambling like 38. That.
What do you think about starting Chubb week 7? So it's already a start question here.
Obviously, like with anyone else, I'd like to see him first before I'm, putting him in my lineups. You've gone this long without him. I mean, unless you're literally in a situation where you got, Dowdle and Swift as your 2 running backs, and they're both on bye week, and you have Pacheco and CMC where your other 2 and they're sitting in your IL spot, then fire up Chubb, right? Like get him in there, I guess, at this point. If there's nobody else, on your wire, or any of those like 10 running backs that we talked about, coming off, for the waiver section there. But for the most part, I mean, unless it's best ball, but which obviously you don't have to worry about starting or not. In any kind of set your lineup leagues, I'm holding them at least a week until we see, what's going on.
I'm with Anthony on the camp, but it's not ideal. But I do like to start the guys that are coming back, even after injuries like this. For whatever reason, sometimes they have this like blowout crazy game, and then they fall back to normal the next week after that. And then sometimes you're chasing that point because like all of a sudden like, oh yeah, now he's worthy to start because he had that really great game. And then he has like an average game the next week or a little below average game, and you're like, oh, like you're like, wah. And then it kind of evens out after that. But sometimes just like that first initial, like we're back to football, they're excited, things are going their way, and they have a really good game. So I'm not afraid to start them. It could be costly. It could be, not many touches, not this and that. So obviously it depends on your position you're in and how many players you have, what you have available in your lineup. But I don't mind taking a shot.
Yeah. And waivers. All right, good stuff. And Zion here was just saying, he was trading AJ for Chase. So I do like that.
Another one here. Should I trade Swift or Jacobs? Because I don't know if Swift.
I would personally, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd move on Swift.
Interesting lead though. People that just trade straight up like that. It's kind of it's always kind of weird to me. You and I do that randomly every once in a while. Like if you're just out on a guy and you like another guy, you'll just be like, yeah, I'm swapping him for.
But it's not very often. Yeah, I like trading.
You have to have 2 people that are totally like different opinions on guys. Like someone has to be real high on this guy and low on this guy, and vice versa, to make that seem even in their heads. So
yeah, I prefer like wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, quarterbacks involved, tight ends or whatever. Not ever like running back, wide receiver. That's very, very rare. Yeah,
it's rare. And Cheesy just said the power just came back on Sunday night, man. Appreciate the thoughts. Oh, that's good stuff to hear, man. Good stuff to hear. Hopefully getting back to normal, man. All right. So that was a quick show tonight, man. We're trying to cut some of that other fluff stuff out, man. I hope you guys liked it. We just want to spend, more time on the waivers and give you guys more time to ask questions. Let us know what you think about the new format. Do you guys want us to bring, some stuff back? Do you want, more of a recap of week 6? Do you want more of discussion for week 7 in these waivers? Let us know what you'd like to hear. Leave comments in the chats for us. So other than that, man, make sure you guys are checking out our affiliate channels. Our boys, Kindle, over at the Fantasy Football Tavern, as well as Phil over at the Extra Point. Again, you'll see both of them on Friday nights with Classic Mike and I doing part 1 and part 2 of the Start Sit shows. And then, of course, checking out their own content, as well as our boy Tycoon on Tuesday nights over in the Fantasy Boardroom. And again, we have more shows like our boy Jeezy be coming out with a show here soon. And then we got The Sweet Life with Jack and Cody. They're dropping content as well. So again, we have a lot of stuff going on here at Get Right Fantasy, man. Hopefully you guys are hitting that subscribe button and like button for us, and help continuing to grow.
More in here right quick at the
Let's
end.
do it.
So I said, I just want to say thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Hey, you're welcome. Join our sleeper channels. Hit the like and subscribe. Come join us. We're always answering questions.
And we're always
a lot of live Q&A all the time here. Which is, what's your panic level starting Marvin Harrison Jr. as long as Kyler Murray still breathes? LOL. I'm stressing that he's out with this concussion situation until he comes back this week, and see what's going on with Murray. You know what I mean? Like, I'm stressing. Harrison Jr. has been doing really good for me, and I hope that continues. I'm not sure if it'll go as well with another quarterback.
Yeah, so I mean, he's dealing with the concussion. He'll probably be out this week. That's kind of pretty much, what's been going on. So he'll probably most likely miss this Chargers game. You'll get him back at Miami. Then he's going to face a tough defense in Chicago. He's going to get Sauce Gardner week 10, and then bye week 11. But what you like with him is his playoff matchups are home against New England, at Carolina, and then at the Rams. So that's, 2 games that's 2 games in a dome. And then you get the week 16 matchup there in Carolina, which worst case is usually rain. You don't have to worry about snow or like freezing cold temperatures or anything like that around that time of the year. So I really do like his playoff schedule. And then weeks 14 and 15, when you probably maybe need win weeks 13 and 14, when you might need win or get in type status. You're at Minnesota and home against Seattle. So again, dome, Carolina, and then dome again against the Raiders in your playoff week. Or in your championship week 17. So I really like him. And again, still a rookie. So again, a lot of lofty expectations with him. He's still performing really well. Still is your PPR receiver 26 overall. And that was after a week 1 dud week. And then, of course, this last week in a dud week against San Francisco. So 3 duds, but still basically, a wide receiver 2. So, I mean, you'll take that, in hopes that he can finish strong here. So I'm not panicking yet. If you're in my league with me and you're panicking on him, send me an offer. I'll take him off your hands.
Well, I'm not wanting to take him. I'm just worried about him. I just want him to.
I just meant anyone watching.
That's yeah. I'm not giving him.
Jeezy and I play in a few leagues together. So if you got him, Jeezy, Red Rover, send Marvin Harrison Jr. right over. So anyway,
you got one last one. Should I do Chase and Kincaid for JT? This is Bauer and Irving. I got should running backs Stevenson, Tajay Spears, and I got Amon-Ra, Chase, and London as wide receivers.
No, I wouldn't do that. Not me. I mean, I'd throw London in there and maybe take out something else, like take out Bowers and do like London and Kincaid. Oh, I see what you're doing because you have Kincaid in there. So it'd have to be London Kincaid for Bowers. And I would do it for Bowers and JT and just throw Irving, go into more hero running back. And then you'll have Stevenson and Tajay still to kind of play there as your RB2. But I wouldn't want to give that up because Chase and Amon-Ra can make up that difference at RB2 for you. If you have to start Stevenson and Spears, that's how I look at it. Look at that. They can win you weeks.
Chase Brown, right? That's what we're talking about.
No, Jamar Chase. I assume it's Jamar Chase. Yeah.
Chase.
Because he says his other wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Chase, and London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad, but I don't want to give up Chase for 2 running backs and a tight end. Like, I'd rather give that up for, like, I'd want still a wide receiver in that. But, I mean, if you feel like that's what you need, then, I mean, go right ahead. It's not a bad package, but, like.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't give up Chase.
Someone better than JT. Like, that's the best piece. Like, you're giving up the best piece by far in Chase. And, like, JT was like a mid-second. Like, if it was Saquon, Bowers, and Irving, then I would do it.
Yeah, then it's cool.
Like,
Then you're
but
good.
for JT, who's already hurt and we don't know when he's coming back, and it's a high ankle sprain, which cost him, 2 years ago. Like, yeah, no thanks. No thanks on that. That's not buying
There you go.
low on him. So there
We'll
we
call
go.
it a night
All
on
right,
that.
good stuff. Yeah, before we get another one in there. But again, you guys can always leave a comment. We will reply to the comments. Or, of course, you could direct message us on Sleeper or Twitter. And we'll get to that as well. So without anything else, man, you ready to roll those sleeves down and get out of here?
Yeah, it's gotta relax.
All right, man, let's do it. Let's do it. Good stuff tonight.
Looking at my team, start figuring out what I need to be doing.
Yeah, start putting those waiver claims in and those fab bids, and you're still going strong in the guillotine league, man.
Oh.
So how you liking that so far? Just real quick. Here.
Surviving. Oh, we're doing that again. That's for sure.
You liking it, huh?
For sure. Doing it for money. I'm impressed by. Well, I feel bad for Unugas is out of there. Sorry, just real shout out to Unugas. If you're watching this last second here, really enjoyed grading his teams. But he's out of here this week. Tough love. That's how it goes. And I'm really impressed with the Valentine, the over here, man. He's really he's killing it. He hasn't spent any fab. Have you seen that?
No, not yet.
Dude,
I was out week 2, so I haven't really checked anything out. I know he's put bids in, but he keeps losing. So
he keeps
I know
losing,
he was.
But he literally has all his money and still scoring like tremendously high.
That's
I'm
good
super
stuff.
impressed with his whole team and everything that he's got put in there.
Who was that? Neanderthal
on there.
Good stuff.
Dude, look at his stuff. Look at his.
I'll go check it out. We'll take it off the
yeah,
air.
gotta
We'll
check it
finish
out.
that conversation. Let's sign off. But yeah, so good stuff there. Shout out to the Guillotine League. Shout out to the list, all the listener leagues, man. The Got Left Out League, the Ambassador League, where I took L's in all 3 of them this week. Not doing great over there. So we'll see. Yeah, man, I got to talk to you about that, man. We'll see, man. He's trying to get me out there to Florida for that San Francisco Tampa Bay game. They're doing this salute to the veterans, so I think he gets on the field like for free. So he's offering me his season ticket, his normal seat, so I can go check it out with him. So
gotta go do that.
We'll see, man. I'll see what's going on, man. I'll see. And shout out to our boy Phil, man. He's going to the Niner game next week. So that'll be pretty exciting, man. So good stuff around, man. Good football stuff, man. Again, appreciated Jeezy. So again, from all of us here at Get Right, man, for Dustin, for Classic Mike, for Tycoon, for Kendall, for Phil, for my boy Frank here, spending these Mondays and Wednesdays nights with me, man. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys here back on Wednesday talking buy, sell, trade. Or buy, sell, trade targets, buy, sell, hold for these trade targets, man. So we'll get into it. Good luck heading into week 7.
Show.
Rasta management. Let's do it. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you Wednesday. Peace out.
Wanted to white fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go